What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to my gaming Q&A series where you guys get to ask me questions about PC gaming, PC building, or gaming in general. The way you do this is by leaving a comment down in the comment section below or by tweeting me at VeryTraumatic, and I do have a Twitter question to answer this video, so without further ado, let's get started. The first question comes from Jay Bizzer, is that how you pronounce it? And he asks what I thought about The Last of Us ending. This is going to be a very spoiler heavy response, so if you don't want The Last of Us spoiled, be sure to skip ahead in 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I power gamed through The Last of Us in 2 days, and it was one of the best gaming experiences I've had in recent memory. It was the reason I bought a PS3, even though I already had a powerful PC gaming rig. But it's still too early to make a decision on where this game fits into my personal favorites of all time. To give you an idea of just how much I enjoyed this game, I beat the game twice within 2 weeks. There's just too many good games coming out to spend so much time on one game, and I rarely play through single player campaigns more than once, but playing it again so close to the first time I beat it shows just how strongly I feel about the game. I thought the game's ending was perfect. The game's theme was about doing what you need to survive. In Joel's decision, it wasn't a matter of right or wrong, it was a matter of what he needed to do. The game was never about the revival of the human race after a pandemic. The infected were just a backdrop to the story of the survivors. Most of the drama in the game occurs between humans, not between humans and the infected. Human groups did as much damage to each other as the infected did to the humans. The game was over-the-top violent, but I can't think of another game where the violence is this justified. Anything that anyone does is just another means to survival. From the mid-game onward, you knew that there was not a happy ending coming, and since fall, you knew that Joel and Ellie could not be separated because Ellie had become a surrogate for Joel's lost daughter. In spring, when I got to the hospital, I started thinking there has to be more than simply giving the Fireflies Ellie. When Ellie's operation was revealed, me personally, not just as a player, I personally was legitimately angry and anxious. Anything could happen in the game. No one is immune to death in a video game. This game isn't Mass Effect where you arbitrate morality, so it was very right of the writers to not let you decide what to do. This is not your story. This is a narrative about Joel and Ellie and the last of humanity. The only decisions you made in the end are how many doctors you killed. I killed all of them, probably the last neurosurgeons in the United States, so the operation could never be performed. In referencing Joel's daughter's death, the world took something from him, so he took something from the world. During the last scene, you learn even more about Ellie's background and her survivor's guilt. If she had been asked to volunteer for the operation, she would have agreed, and Joel knew this. Ellie knew Joel was lying about the cure being worthless. This ending still haunts me and resonates within me, but it portrays the theme of survival more completely and engenders more empathy than any happy ending ever could. The ending is not depressingly sad, though. I think it's best described as hopeful. The game's universe is worth coming back to in future games. Maybe other characters will work on restoring humanity to its former glory, but Joel and Ellie's story is already as complete as can be. The next question comes from Microsoft over Sony, and he asks me what I think about the Nvidia Shield and whether I will be getting one. First of all, I think it's pretty clear who you're supporting in the upcoming console war, but as for what I think about the Nvidia Shield, I've read a few reviews on it and I'm impressed with what I've seen. It has impressive hardware specs with the Tegra 4 and it has a solid build quality. Spec for spec, optimization aside, it should be stronger than the PlayStation Vita. It has a high PPI touchscreen, 5-inch with 720p display, and it has an impressively long battery life, but I'm not a fan of the PS3 style close together thumbsticks. The biggest problem holding the device back is limited software support and a narrow target audience for advanced features. Let me ask you guys, what notable Android games are there that you really want to play? I really don't care about getting more FPS in Temple Run or Angry Birds. There's not a lot of exclusive software and I don't even know of one game in the Tegra exclusive store. There's no killer app system seller game. It's hard to sell me a console without any good exclusives. To me, the Vita still seems like a better option because of better optimization for games, a wider selection of games, and lower price point. Shield streaming is not a feature that excites me very much. As mentioned above, there is a very narrow consumer range for this feature. You have to have an Nvidia Kepler or above, that's a GTX 640 or above, and there are no immediate plans for AMD gamers to use Shield streaming. And it's very true that sometimes you really don't care about the most graphically intense experience, you just want to sit on the couch and chill. Most say that latency is not a concern with gaming on the Shield, but you still have to be tied down to the PC in order to use the streaming feature. For my couch gaming, I use the Razer Edge, where I don't have to be dependent on my PC and I can play my games natively without any lag. Even if the price drops, I don't see myself getting a first generation Shield. The next question comes from Host Slayer for the win, and he asks me what I think about a rumor that GTA 5 may not have a PC version. There is no question, and it's very certain that there will be a PC version of Grand Theft Auto 5. Rockstar is already advertising job positions regarding PC versions of their games, and Rockstar has a precedence of porting over popular games over to the PC, with the notable exception being Red Dead Redemption, which is still a console exclusive. So a good time frame in which we can expect a Grand Theft Auto 5 port, if history serves itself well, is 6 months after the console release, so that's around March to May. I would prefer that Rockstar take time with the port for a quality game instead of rushing it and have problems like the Grand Theft Auto 4 port had. Grand Theft Auto 4 is a textbook example of a bad port, possibly the worst PC port of all time. It's too much of a hassle to even start the game. I got it to work on my tablet, the Razer Edge, a lot easier than on my desktop. To get it to work on my desktop, I had to disable SLI, add a command line to the configuration files to unrestrict memory usage because video cards with more than 2 gigs of video RAM will cause an error and the game will default to integrated graphics. I had to disable antivirus because antivirus blocks application pop-ups like Rockstar Social Club, and Rockstar Social Club is used for multiplayer access. Then I had to download games for Windows Live, so there's DRM within DRM within DRM to go through. At least it's not always online. I don't mind DRM, I just hate always online DRM, as do many who game on laptops. It's not only a hassle to get it running, the hardware optimization is virtually non-existent. It's like playing a developer kit or an Xbox emulator where you need overkill hardware. I can't max out this game and get 60 frames per second. I have to reduce my draw distance to 75 instead of 100, and still I average 50 frames per second. I definitely want Rockstar to take their time for a quality game instead of rushing and leaving us with a poor port forever. On a side note, I don't know whether I'm going to get GTA 5 for Xbox or not. It's not that I'm not excited for the game. I'm very excited, on the contrary. It's just that I have so much respect for the game, and possibly I don't have enough time to play it and still commit to other projects. The Battlefield 4 beta is releasing around the same time, and I need to prepare for Battlefield 4 because I want to feature it prominently on my channel. Also, the internet is hyping it up way too damn much. I visit Reddit too often. Reddit and the internet in general over-vilifies negatives like Microsoft's former DRM policies, and they overhype the positives like BioShock Infinite, The Last of Us, and GTA 5. I don't want my attitudes to get influenced by the internet hive mind. Also, I don't want to feel pressure to post gameplay videos because it's a new game. I want to experience the game on my terms. I played BioShock Infinite on launch day and was underwhelmed when the game didn't live up to its hype. But I played The Last of Us a month after launch after a lot of the hype had died down, and it was one of the best gaming weekends I've ever had. So in summary, I respect the game Grand Theft Auto 5 so much that I'll probably wait until the PC port to play it. The next question comes from Super Attack, and he asks, should my PC build be influenced by the type of games I play? Then he goes on to say that he likes my content and contributing to my channel in some way, and I in return thank you guys for giving me some interesting topics to talk about. To answer your question, I don't really know of any first-person shooter exclusively optimized builds. FPS and open world games are generally the most graphically intensive games out there, so if your PC can play those, then you should be okay. I do hear that Total War Rome 2 is insanely CPU demanding though. If you do know of any games you want to play that are Nvidia or AMD optimized, I still wouldn't necessarily build a system around a specific game because you never know of any games in the future you want to play that will use different hardware optimization. If you were to play, let's say, Battlefield 4 exclusively, then you might be better off going AMD because Battlefield 4 is an AMD Gaming Evolved title. But for most people, you should always build what's best for you at the moment. The last question in this video is my first Twitter question, and it comes from the Game God, and he asks, how did I know of the hair physics detail in Tomb Raider? If you have asked me a Twitter question before and I missed it, I'm sorry. Tomb Raider doesn't use PhysX physics though because it's a Gaming Evolved AMD title and PhysX is an Nvidia exclusive technology, but there is a graphical option called hair tress effects. It's glitchy on Nvidia cards though. You get a lot of texture flickering. Hair tress effects is so graphically demanding that some gamers say they lose up to 10 frames per second with it enabled. That's all the questions I have for this video. Thank you to everybody who participated. For your chance to be featured in the next gaming Q&A, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section below or tweet me at VeryTraumatic. Thank you very much for watching. My name's David and I'll see you in the next video.